Today on GC Conversations, we sit down with Dr. Rosalie Richards, who explains to us the importance of the Science Education Center and STEM initiatives both on campus and in our community. Welcome to this edition of GC Conversations. I'm Brittany Johnson, and our guest today is Dr. Rosalie Richards. How are you today?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Glad to see you. Now, you are the director of the Science Education Center and up here at Georgia College. Tell us a little bit about what you do as the director.
Thank you for having me today. I'm really excited about talking about what we're doing. The Science Education Center was founded in 2001 when I was invited to join the faculty. And part of our role is to really bring sparks of science to our university and broader community. The center is located in Hurley Hall, the home of the sciences, and we spend a lot of time looking at issues with respect to the university and the broader community and trying to come up with solutions collaboratively to those issues and challenges.
Now, I am still amazed at all the hard work and the outreach that you guys do through the center. One of our overriding themes that we have is the science to serve, and I guess that's more of the goal of the center and the overriding theme. Explain the science to serve idea and what that means.
Science to Serve is actually the outgrowth of a number of partners at Georgia College. It's a network of academic programs like chemistry, environmental sciences, computer science, coming together with the Science Education Center, the Natural History Museum, the planetarium, academic outreach, our education programs, our observatory, our new observatory, our educational greenhouse, and so on. And what we collaboratively decided on was to create a framework for how we might bring sparks again of science to the university and our broader community, and we've expanded that to include technology, engineering, and mathematics. So the Science to Serve initiative is really a program that advances the access, interest, and participation by people of all ages and backgrounds to science, technology, engineering, and math, which we call STEM.
Which is something that's so unique about this, that it's not only condensed here to the university setting, that this is outreach to our K through 12 students, that this is bringing adults in to kind of give them a new understanding or a greater understanding of the sciences, technology, engineering, mathematics. There are a lot of goals that fall under the Science to Serve umbrella as far as professional development and a pipeline to educate and pass along that information. Explain to us some of those goals and how they're implemented in our community.
Sure. Science to Serve has four major umbrellas. The first is pathway programs. Our pathway programs encourage students and community members to participate in science, technology, engineering, and math. And so examples of these would be our academic outreach that participates in school visits and in field trips to the university, facilities around science and technology and engineering, bringing about 10,000 students per year.
Wow.
Which is really an amazing feat for that unit. We also have science camps, and coming up soon in October is National Chemistry Week, and so the chemistry program provides a plethora of activities for our community, including a family fun night where we transform the entire science building into a learning laboratory for students and parents and their family. Mm-hmm. So our pathway programs really try to engage the community in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Our pipeline programs are particularly geared to high school students who are interested in pursuing science or mathematics or engineering. And so examples of those would be our summer research program, which is an 8-week program for high school students where they do research on our campus. Another example would be our one of our past programs, which is our Advanced Academy for Future Teachers. That's a residential program that engages high school students who are interested in teaching math or science. We also have our third component, which is our professional development programming, and those really geared towards enhancing the craft of our students, our faculty, our teachers, and parents. And then our fourth component for Science to Serve is project management, where we help with strategic planning, proposal development, and project implementation. So that umbrella really allows us to target a number of different areas to really shore up that issue around science and mathematics that's so needed.
When the Science Education Center was developed, how did you guys target in on those four specific elements, and why were they deemed the most important to outreach to all these different groups?
Well, Georgia College is a public liberal arts institution, and so regional stewardship is implied by our mission in the fact that we are the stewards of public funds. And so it's important that we're able to be competitive as a region and as a university, not just statewide, but also nationally and globally. And so in looking at the needs, we try to make sure that our constituencies were being served as best as possible. And the talents that we have at Georgia College and beyond have afforded the opportunity for us to have those four different pieces to come to fore.
Right, and a lot of different opportunities out there. We're going to delve a little more into some of those opportunities in just a second. We'll be right back with this edition of GC Conversations.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's gonna happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
A single ember from a wildfire can travel over a mile. That ember can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where that ember will land. Only what happens before it does. Visit fireadapted.org to learn how you can help protect your community from wildfires.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
We're back with this edition of GC Conversations with our guest today, Dr. Rosalie Richards. Thank you again for coming in, and we're talking about our Science Education Center under the umbrella of Science to Serve. And before we went to break, you were talking a little bit about some of the programs and the direction that fall under that Science to Serve umbrella, but let's talk a little more in depth about some of the programs that you guys have put in place and are working not only here on campus but also out in the community. Can you tell us a little bit about the SMART partnership?
Sure. Brittany, SMART is an acronym for Science and Mathematics Alliance for Regional Teachers. And this project is a collaborative partnership project that was started back in 2003 between the Oconee Regional Educational Service Agency, which is the umbrella organization for 6 of our school districts here in the region, and it houses Georgia College and several of those schools. And Georgia College, and we've also brought on several other higher educational partners in the past. The collaboration was developed in order to help our regional teachers really shore up their craft in science and mathematics. And so over the past 8 summers, We've hosted very intensive summer institutes where teachers work collaboratively with faculty and other instructors at Georgia College in math and science, and then implement some of what they learn in the classroom. And then this continues over the course of the year, where they meet on Saturdays for follow-up sessions and so on.
And what has been the feedback from that program? I can imagine, as with anything, the more collaboration that you have, the more folks working together towards a common good, it's got to help these teachers, which in turn helps the students as well.
Well, one of our guiding principles at the center is that collaboration fosters innovation. And so because it's a partnership, what we see is both confidence building on behalf of our teachers in terms of math and science, and also increases in their content knowledge. But then also for us as a university, not only are we participating in issues of STEM education by our science and mathematics and education faculty, but as faculty members at the university, we're also seeing our own practice in teaching improving.
And that's great. And that's really one of the main goals of the center, is to have that habitual, the rolling effect of that. Not only is it housed here on campus, but that we can see it throughout our community, that then trickles down to our teachers in K through 12 and further down. Going a little more in depth, we also have the STEM initiative, programs like the supplemental instructor and things along those lines. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. STEM, again, is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And this initiative was initiated probably around 2007, when the University System of Georgia, which is our umbrella coordinating organization at the university, really looked very deeply at if we were identifying the best practices in STEM education at the university and in our community. And so we were able to successfully compete for public funds, for a grant from the university, and since then we've been able to offer several programs on campus that impact not only our university faculty and students and staff, but also our regional community. And so one example of professional development for our students is the supplemental instruction program. Mm-hmm. Supplemental instructors are students that are trained in helping other students. They're different from tutors because as peer educators, they actually have to come to the classes that students are taking, and then because they're working with faculty and in those classes, they know exactly what's going on in class, and then they can help students. In some cases, our supplemental instructors actually help coordinate and facilitate some of our class sessions. For example, I know in some programs, in some departments, supplemental instructors are responsible for facilitating small group sessions or helping with laboratory sessions and so on. Another component of the STEM initiative is the focus course. Focus means fostering our children's understanding of science, or community, understanding of science. And in focus, students who are engaged in this particular course, so it's a class, a one-credit class, actually work with an education faculty member to learn about teaching in K-12 classrooms, and then in turn they go into the classrooms and help teachers with their courses. And so that has been a wonderful program for our community, in particular with our Georgia College Early College program housed right here on our campus.
So a lot of learning opportunities with our students here on campus. And one of the key facets or key parts of the Georgia College mission is engaged learning for our students. Another project that you guys are involved in is Project Focus, and that's really what that focuses on. Mm-hmm. So it's a really nice connection there, and shows a follow through with that. Another aspect, kind of taking it off campus to outreach to our community and bring in some of our local students, we have the Science and Engineering Fair, and that's coming up beginning of next year, right?
Yes, the Science and Engineering Fair at the Center is actually one of our largest programs. That project actually spans a full year, so it begins in August and ends in May. Begins with our planning and then implementation of the actual program In this case, January 31st and February 1st is when we will be hosting our 37th, I think, annual fair. So Georgia College has been involved in the regional science and engineering fair for a long time.
And about how many students do you guys have come in for that?
So far, we've gotten up to as high as 218 students from 10 counties in the region, bringing in close to 170 projects for competition. And Georgia College students, faculty, and our regional community, we have teachers and engineers and scientists, doctors, and so on that come in and help us evaluate and judge those projects annually. So it's a wonderful celebration of science for our community.
Very good. So I guess it's a good idea for the students to get started on those projects now so they can
yes, absolutely.
make sure to be involved. All right, Dr. Richards, we'll be back to talk a little bit more with you about our Science to Serve and some of those initiatives you have. We'll be right back with this edition of GC Conversations.
Smile. Reliable sources say that chicken soup has found their way out of this. Dangerous, but they are returned.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to GC Conversations with our guest today, Dr. Rosalie Richards, and we've been talking about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics that fall under a large umbrella here at Georgia College of developmental programs, of things for our students, of outreach to K through 12, and an exciting time with a lot of things going on right now and things coming in the future. We had a very interesting STEM Summit this summer, right?
Yes, and the STEM Summit is actually an outgrowth of conversations spearheaded by a retired Drug Enforcement Agency administrator, Mr. Darrell Davis, who has really pioneered an effort to think about how analytical services and education could be matched in a regional community such as Milledgeville. And so part of that idea was to bring a number of higher education and K-12 partners together at Georgia College, where we hosted an inaugural STEM Summit with a goal of consortium building. And the idea there would be to share expertise and resources among a number of different entities.
And what is the ultimate goal, I guess, with this? We're actually looking to host a regional center here in Milledgeville, right?
Yes, so the analytical center concept will be one where we are not only offering analytical services to the state and nationally and perhaps internationally, but then also using those resources as a training enterprise for local and regional students, and then students from across the nation.
And now we're looking at housing this, or the organizers looking at housing this out at Central State in one of the buildings that are out there. What's the timeline, or what's the progress? Where do we stand in that now?
Based on our conversations, the estimated time for opening the center at Central State is close to next summer.
So at least we have a timeline.
Yes.
And some initiatives that we're looking to start
Yes.
there. Now, we've been kind of talking about the STEM as something that's kind of this idea that a lot of people may not be involved with or may not think about on a daily basis. As far as adults especially, obviously our kids are in our science classes in high school and middle school and elementary school, and our students that are here on campus. But something that's very interesting to me is President Obama in the last several years has really called an all hands on deck approach to STEM education. Why is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, such an important field and so important for our students, K through 12 students, as well as through higher education?
One litmus test for student access to colleges has been mathematics. And so if we're thinking about a mantra of all students being educated in higher education, then that means that we have to worry about issues of access. And so one of my passions is STEM equity, and this really is an area where we look specifically at who is getting into the pipeline to enter into fields of STEM. Well, even within that particular pipeline, you also have to have students who are well educated to get into college. And so if mathematics training and mathematics learning is not at its best, it means that a number of our children are not going to be able to access college. And so that's one issue. The second is that internationally we are sort of at war in terms of global innovations. And so innovation usually occurs because it is grounded in issues of science, technology, engineering, and math. And so if in the US we're not competitive in those particular fields, then it means that we would not be globally competitive either. That way, one of the goals of President Obama is to educate at least 10 million so that you have 1,000 teachers, really highly qualified teachers in STEM. And that then sort of shows you the trickle-down effect of how many we need to educate in order to get that few number of teachers.
Right, and you brought up a very interesting point that the U.S. globally is not seen as a competitor when it comes to science, technology, engineering, mathematics. How does the Science Education Center, how is Georgia College playing a part in that to hopefully increase those odds to make the U.S. and Georgia and Central Georgia more competitive?
And so the programs that we identified in the earlier segment really try to target this particular issue from several vantage points. The pathway programs really try to encourage pipeline programs, bring students into that particular pipeline and keep them into moving into college to pursue those particular fields. Professional development then impacts them from several different ways, and then our program implementation and project management helps to identify some of the areas that are of greatest need. And so this is a national and international issue. The US is not the only country that struggles with issues of STEM, especially where mathematics is concerned. And so one of our greatest challenges, I think, internationally is how we really think about teaching and learning in those particular fields.
And that's a great question to kind of leave everyone with, because it's so much on your plate and so much on the minds of folks that are in the kind of the heart of this STEM education and STEM talk. Where can folks find some more information if teachers may be interested in some developmental programs, or students involved in the science and engineering fair? Where can they go or call to get some more information?
You can contact us at the Science Education Center at science@gcsu.edu. That's our email address, or you can call the center at 478-445-7531.
And Dr. Richards, we appreciate you so much coming in and giving us a better understanding of STEM, of the Science Education Center, and the initiatives that we have going on, not only here on campus, but in the community.
It's been a delight. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And that's it for this edition of GC Conversations. We hope you'll join us again next time.